Alright guys, I'm back with yet another Shogun 2 Battles video, and this time we've got a siege going. It's me and Tyler yet again. That's pretty much going to be the common pattern. And this was a pretty damn big battle with a pretty big fortress, and Tyler did bring ninjas. I'm not really going to go over a force composition, but we both did have I didn't really have that many bows. I brought all melee, and the purpose of this battle, actually, and the reason I want to show it to you, was just a good use of synergy between allies. And basically, between me and Tyler, I weakened their forces, leaving Tyler open to just sweep through without pretty much any opposition. And so the beginning of the battle started, we gained a foothold at the biggest, like, little bottom part of their fortress over here, because they didn't really defend it. And this helped us big time in the long run, but these walls were also very steep, which we recognize makes them harder to climb. And we still had 2 more gates to go to even be close to them, as well as those. So they've got a large force in this castle, and they didn't really defend the outer reaches of it, which was curious, and they did decide to march the units in from over here since we didn't have anything. I'm going to fast forward now, as there isn't much to show for a while yet. Just moving our forces up, me figuring out the range of their shit, backing off, Tyler advancing, taking fire. These are Hanzo's shadows, by the way. I don't know whose fire rockets those were. Those were my fire rockets. Oh, I did bring bows. I'm sorry, I was mistaken. I sent some of my stuff with Tyler, apparently. And those do seem to be my elite Apollo's chariot fire rockets. My entire army is themed off of the Greek mythology. My general is Poseidon. Alright, so let's continue. Hammered them, broke down the thing. Fire rocket's probably one of the most useful units in the game, and also the one that gets some of the most complaints. Don't be afraid to use them. I encourage the use of them. Just protect them. Alright, so then I moved my Naginata warrior monks, and they had high morale, so I chose them, as I trusted them to be the ones that climbed efficiently and not break during the climb, like many units do, so you want to watch out for that during sieges. I mean, if your unit breaks while they're climbing the walls, it's sort of a waste, and you don't want to do that. Also, high armor units are good for climbing walls, and your faster, lighter units should go behind those so they can gain a spearhead and not just get pushed off the walls. Don't know what's going on over here. Oh, just some hero cavalry pissing them off, shooting away at them. Some heavy gunners. Their matchlocks were one of the reasons we didn't just pour in, is we didn't want to lose a crap ton of our stuff to them. Alright, and then here's where the real action starts. Archery duel, which we lose. They really did overpower us in it. We did do a lot of damage, though, and I decided to move in on their flank at the same time, and this was a clever move by our opponent, having Kisho Ninja on the outside. The problem was he tried to take on some elite katanas, and the katana hero wasn't the best move. And here's some of my 5 chevron Naginata samurai climbing the walls and getting in there. And they really got in unopposed, which allowed them to put a spearhead down, and they'd have the heavy army to maintain it. And then as they were distracted with my archers and Tyler's archers, I decided to march in, which let me go in unhampered with minimal casualties. At the same time as his ninjas had captured the gates, I was able to march in without any opposition and climb these walls where only had some archers, which weren't able to stop me. These matchlock Ashigar did to some heavy tolls to a lot of my units, which was a problem, obviously. And as you can see, a lot of his units are breaking by this point, and the way their army is composed is very similar to ours, with one of them being very heavy bows and one of them being very heavy melee, as in me and Tyler's case. My guys got pretty close to breaking here, but my katana hero did an unbelievable amount of damage there. I have no clue where my general's in danger from. Okay, there he is. Keep a better eye on the battle. Alright, and then this is where Tyler sort of poured in behind me as I was cutting my way through the fortress and to the main keep. I climbed here as I wanted to eliminate his Daiaku Samurai and those bows that were still firing on my guys as they climbed, which is one of the reasons I took some heavy casualties doing it, which is a good defense tactic, as having matchlocks there firing on the guys as they charge in. You can actually see this one guy probably get cut down. Oh, no, he makes it. He kills somebody. Everybody's fighting the last man. This is actually pretty interesting to watch, as I have 12 katana heroes here, and they just slaughtered. And I truly mean, in the sense of the term, slaughtered. I think they had something like 300 kills by the end of the battle. Let's minimize this, and let's continue watching. And as you can see, I mean, if this had been a one-on-one siege, I would have very likely lost, as I charged in preliminary too early, took heavy casualties during it, and they still have a large, massive forces there.
The enemy have taken the tower.
But I also have all of these reserve units, and this is what you want to do if you're playing alone, is you want to have these reserve units and weaken them down with some forces before, as they'll take casualties, and then your fully fresh units can push past. Alright, now here they quelled the assault on the right flank. However, the left flank's attack is still going, and I do believe it continues until the end of the attack, just kind of rampaging through, as they don't break. Even when they get down to like 3 or 4 men, I think they'll decide to fight to the death. Spartans holding their ground. And this is where Tyler decides to start pouring everything in. As you can see, he already had gotten some guys forward, and his bows were able to fire throughout the entirety of the battle unhindered. And this is for a long... This is largely where one is, they'd taken heavy casualties. I was able to establish that beachhead with my forces, and Tyler was able to climb the walls unhindered, and with greater force than they even started with, was able to sweep across in an even fight, instead of having to climb the walls and having the advantage of those walls. And as you can see, this is where it starts to happen. One of his mistakes, however, was deciding to climb the wall in one area instead of climbing the wall in both zones, and I don't understand why he did that. And the other thing is, he set up these matchlock warrior monks right here to take down anybody climbing in. That's something that you always want to do too if you do have matchlocks. And I'm going to fast forward now, as this is the reason I named the replay the sweep, as this is where the sweep starts to form and then begin.
Our entire unit has perished, my lord.
Not much to say here. As you can see, those bows really did come in handy. They're killing the guys there, pretty much demolishing everything.
Our entire unit
and it is pretty chaotic. I mean, if you watch without the AI, it's really hard to tell what's going on. Which is a good thing when you're the attacker, is the defender doesn't know what's going on inside his own battle keep. And the heavy gunners here just getting cut down. So really the key to these battles is not throwing everything in at once, whittling down the defender, and then attacking. You need to have heavy ranged units, and the goal for the defender is to be able to not get whittled down or kill more of his attacker than he's being killed of, and that's very hard to do with lesser forces. And that's why it's also very important to have a lot of ranged units, and that's really the key to siege battles, is sturdy, heavily armored units on defense and high morale units as the attacker. Also, a lot of people decide to concentrate their attack, and that's why you really need to choose early on if you're going to concentrate your attack, or if you're going to simply flank. And in my case, we decided a 3-pronged attack, which was the best option, because they have to divert forces to other sections of the keep to stop that, and that leaves other sections of the keep less defended. As well as on top of that, if one of those attacks is successful, you now have another force on their flank ready to attack them, providing another threat. That's why if you can establish multiple attacks, you should establish multiple attacks, splitting their forces, and adding more confusion. It's harder to control that, and keep an eye on all of that action going on. A single attack is generally much easier to stop then 3 attacks from your right flank, your center, and your left flank. Now what would have been a good idea would have been to have some units back here, but we didn't want to split our forces that much. Also, especially in these Japanese-styled keeps, you want to establish beachheads in these keeps and hold on to them, because you can use them as a base of fire for your archers, and as well as a place to regroup and get formed without taking too much pressure from the enemy. It's also a quick way to move around in the keep if you so need to.